Hey, you Flight Junkies, thanks for joining me. Hey, I got a call the other day. As I do every day, I get a lot of questions, a lot of calls from people asking, which motor they should go into. Well, first of all, I want to tell you, if you settle on any other brand besides Fresh Breeze, you kind of just screwed yourself out of about 12.5 major features that are only found on a Fresh Breeze. If you go with a Scout, an Air Conception, this brand, that brand, or whatever the other brand's on, you just robbed yourself out of so many features. And to see that list of features that are not found on any other brand, you can go to my website and scroll down on the very front homepage. You'll see a video where I'm wearing a white shirt, and it's entitled Powered Paragliding Scam Warnings Equipment. There's too much to tell you in this video. That's not the reason for this video. But we have things like high performance roller bearings, nickel silk coated cylinders, enlarged cylinder heads, high energy ignition systems, onboard CDI computer for digital auto advanced timing of the motor, a double ring cage, different things that aren't on other brands, and the whole list of other things that if you settle for another brand, you're just not going to get. And then on top of it, they're going to charge you $2,500 to $3,500 for training, which could have gone towards getting a better machine. And if you buy any other brand, you're going to pay the same, or in most cases more than you would for a Fresh Breeze, but you are going to be missing everything in that video that's on the front page of my website, because it's not on any other brand worldwide. It's the oldest company. You'll always have customer service, and you don't have to go through the school of hard knocks like I did and going through brand after brand after brand, watching their studio quality photos and videos to try to convince you that theirs is the best. One of the things that I see people coming into the sport is, and you get a call and the guy wants to order equipment and he says, I want the biggest one you got. I want the most powerful one you got. And I say, well, slow down for a second. That's not the way you pick a paramotor. You want to pick it by your size, your weight, what your expectations are in the future, and of course, where you're located. I'm not going to sell a guy at sea level down in Florida here the same unit I'm going to put him into. Let's say he's flying from Utah or Colorado at 8,000 feet. I'm definitely going to want to put him into more power, different size wing to compensate for that elevation. A lot of people come into the sport and they think, well, I just want the biggest one. You know, it's kind of like when they pick a motorcycle, they just want to have, the biggest thing so they can say they have the biggest one. It's a guy thing. It's a type A personality type of thing. In this sport, that can be deadly, or on the other hand, you can be very frustrating. If you get into a motor that's too big for you, it can literally be deadly. And for example, I have a guy call me the other day. He says, man, I'm looking at that monster motor. What is your opinion of the monster? And I said, yeah, it's I went through the list of features that are on a Fresh Breeze, and I said, that's a great one. How much do you weigh? He goes, 150 pounds. And I said, well, that motor would kill you. He says, I thought you said it was a good motor. I said, it is. It's the totally wrong size for you. And I said, even our Simonini model, which I could put you into, is right at the borderline. And I says, but our best unit would be our small little, now I don't have that one here. This is a monster. This is a Simonini. I have another one that's 43 pounds. Okay? For him, he could fly that little one. But then I said to him, he says, well, I want to do tandem later. I was like, okay, that changes the scene. And he also told me that he was in Colorado Springs. I said, okay, the altitude there is about 7,000 feet. So now, what would have been at sea level a real good unit to put him into, our little light, very small top 80 motor on our smallest Fresh Breeze, that would have been the right motor for him at sea level, and if he didn't want to do tandem. But now I'm finding out he's 150 pounds, he's at 7,000 feet altitude, and he's wanting to do tandem later. Here's the problem now. Yes, he could go into that, but when he wants to do tandem, he's now going to have to go to a more powerful unit that's able to lift 2 people. And he'll also have to buy a tandem glider, of course. And a lot of people coming into the sport, they get sold on the idea of, and watch out for this. Watch out when a dealer starts spending too much time talking about how light and how tiny and how little his unit is, because I'm going to guarantee you what, you look at their frame, you look at their cage, the only way to make something lighter, and yes, lighter is a little easier to work with, But is it always the best option? Absolutely not. And if they're trying to focus on that, a lot of times what they're trying to do is put you into a unit you will be happy with and will fly you in the beginning, but later on you're going to outgrow that. You're going to want a better climb rate, you're going to want to maybe add a trike, you're going to maybe want to do tandem, and that same dealer is going to go, fantastic, why don't you just upgrade to our other unit? Okay, which is another 8 pounds heavier, 10 pounds heavier. Well, see, when you have something that's light, that means there's only one way, by the way, to make something lighter. It's to be less of it. Skinnier tubing, less framing, tinier motor, you less mass, less density. That's the only way to make something lighter. Does that mean it won't fly you? No, it can fly you. In fact, our little tiny unit, which is comparable to any light unit out there, which is only around 43 pounds, if there's one that's 38 pounds or 40 pounds, that's only a couple pounds difference. And by the way, if a couple pounds makes a difference, what are you going to do when you put fuel in it? And a gallon of fuel is around 7 pounds. So I mean, if that makes a difference that you can't foot launch, if it's a couple pounds heavier, then you probably should have a trike freight from the get-go, or work out until you're strong enough to lift that extra couple pounds. But either way, you can fly a 200-pound guy. When I was 227 pounds, I didn't have to fly the Monster. I don't have to fly the Simonini. I can fly our smallest little tiny motor at 227 pounds. Our little tiny 43-pound 80cc motor gets me off the ground just fine. But at what expense? At the expense of me having to stay on the throttle a lot more, use a lot more fuel. It's louder because it's revving higher. Yes, it'll get you off the ground. You can make a little tiny motor fly anybody. So when they start focusing on the idea of light, a lot of these guys, what they're wanting to do is put you into their smallest unit because they know later on you're going to want to get out of smaller fields instead of circle the field this many times to get above everything and fly off. They know you're going to be happy at first, you're going to be flying, you're happy. But later on, you may want to do that. Well, maybe later on, you may want to add a trike. You added another 50 pounds. Now your climb rate's even lower. Okay, now you want to do tandem. Now you're totally trying to take another person. If you wanted to get off the ground, even if it could lift you, you're going to be winding that motor out, you're going to be wearing it out, and that's not going to be the proper motor for it. Will it get you off the ground? Absolutely. But you're going to be doing it at an expense of wearing that motor out. And especially when the other brands don't have what a Fresh Breeze has, you're going to be rebuilding all the time. So when they're trying to convince you that, oh, light is the way to go, light's the way to go, sometimes it's just the upgrade scam because they know they want to add you into something else later. I don't like to do that. I want to know what you're going to be flying. What's your goal? Do you want to do tandem? Do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? And we'll put you into something that you're not going to outgrow. And the most expensive part of the whole package is the motor. So you don't want to have to buy another one to play their upgrade scam. You want to go into something that's you're going to be able to do it. Now, if you want to change wings or doing that's a whole different story. That's a lot cheaper than buying a whole nother motor to accomplish something that you want to do. So light is not always better. The Simonini, for example, I don't like to put guys under 150 pounds in this unless they're at high altitude. And then sometimes what I do to reduce some of that power, because it's so much power, is I put a smaller prop on. I put a 110 propeller on instead of a 122 propeller on it. I'll put a different harness system on. We have different options at Fresh Breeze. And with the Monster, I don't put anybody under 200 pounds into this at all, because it is just absolute balls to the wall power. So yes, they're heavier. Why? This is a 313cc motor. It is heavier. But consider that it's only on your back for about 4 minutes, because once you set your wing up, you get up, you stand up with the motor, you connect up to the wing. Once you're in the air, the weight's off your back. So the best thing is you're welcome to come in, try my units out, put them on your back if you want to, but there's only a few pounds difference by the time you go into it. If I went into the biggest wide range is from my smallest little 43 pounder up to my, this is around 70 pounds dry rate, somewhere around the 70 pounds weight. But I'm 55 and I fly it. You don't have to fly this. But again, pick the right motor based on what your needs are going to be, your altitude, your age limit, things like that. If you should have to add a trike later, you're going to want that extra power. You don't want to have to sell your unit or beat the living piss out of it trying to work it to death to get off the ground. You want to be able to climb out even if you did want to add a trike. So I always put guys into more power than they need and just teach them to be safe on it. I put them in the maximum amount of power they can fly and still be safe. Now, if they still opt for the small, I at least explain the differences and the options available to it so that they can make the right choice without having to play the entire upgrade scam trying to convince you that light is the way you should go. It is sometimes, but not always. And a lot of times it's an upgrade scam later on. They know that, but you don't know that. And so I just wanted to make this video, share that with you, get into the right size motor. That's my job, to find out what your needs are, to find out what your body weight is, to find out where you're going to predominantly be flying this, and then we get you into the right unit right off the bat. Your head will swim coming into the sport trying to decide which one you should fly. Everybody claims that theirs is the best, and I'm no different, except I'm going to show you what a Fresh Breeze has that is not found on any other unit. I'm not going to give you, oh, fly ours because YouTube celebrity so-and-so is flying it. That must be a good unit. Well, yeah, they gave him one. They endorse him. He sends shouts out to that company to send him business. They give him free wings. That's what they do. And so you think that's a good unit because after all, he's flying it and he's got, you know, 500,000 subscribers. That doesn't make it a good unit. Yeah, well, look at its carbon fiber and it's titanium and it's this and yes, but he's not telling you about the other stuff. Everybody focuses on the frame and the cage and how light it is. These are strong cages, double ring, not your little flimsy thing. They don't squeeze into the cage or into the propeller when you're doing a forward launch. There's a lot of things, but again, watch that other video and I'll go over that in there. But I hope this has been helpful to you, and I hope this answers the questions. A lot of the guys call in and they just want to immediately go to one unit or the other, and it's my job to make sure that you get into the right unit and you're not going to play the upgrade scam. Remember, any purchase from Flightjunkies gets you unlimited free training for life. These guys that are charging $2,500 to $3,500 for training, I think are doing an injustice to the sport, because a lot of people are skipping training when they see thousands of dollars being spent on training. I understand, and your life's worth it, and if that's the only training you have available to you, but you don't, I will train you for free and give you as much training as you want if you get equipment here. You'll not only be getting a better equipment that has features that are not found on the other brand you're looking, but you're going to get unlimited training for life, and not just for you. I'll train any one of your family members or friends. If you come with them and you have the unit, you have a VIP pass until I'm dead. And I've been out there for almost 30 years doing this. I'm currently at 1,127 students. That's more than any other instructor in the world. And so far, I have a flawless, perfect safety record. So they did not want you to find me. There's a lot of whiners out there that didn't want you to find me. I'm not trying to piss them off by training for free. I just don't want safety to be stopped because some guy couldn't afford training. So I'm offering it for free. I have my own other companies that I run, so I don't do this for a living anyways. So I'm not trying to piss anybody off by that. Now, I'm not saying a guy's a bad guy if he's charging that much. I'm just saying I think that's a joke. $2,500 to $3,500 for training. Come on, guys. Lower the price. That's just causing people to be doing something stupid enough to train themselves, and that's just ridiculous. But when they don't have the extra couple $1,000s, human nature always has people doing stupid things like that, watching videos or my videos, and you should never do that. If you watch one of my videos and train yourself, you're an idiot. My videos are for just recapping and redoing, or maybe you're already flying, to enhance your skill level and do things that maybe your instructor didn't even know about. So subscribe to my channel, watch my other videos, and if I can help you, call me up. We answer the phones from 8 in the morning until midnight, 7 days a week for the past 28 years. So give me a call, let me know what I can do for you, and thanks for joining me.